Tonight, the 1930 street course of Bathurst welcomes some Americans as they head on down under. The Porsche Owners Club turns in the keys to their 991s and their Caymans to grab some NASCAR trucks and head to Mount Panorama Circuit in Australia. And as if that didn't sound just ridiculous enough, there is alcohol involved. Yeah, this is going to be a little weird. But we're glad to have you tonight along for the ride live on the Global SimRacing Channel. I'm Devin Henry alongside Dawson Brock. Behind the scenes is our director Joe Peak, and he is using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. We'll go a little bit more in detail of what tonight is going to bring for these Porsche Owner Club members as they battle this difficult track with potentially a little higher blood alcohol level. But for now, let's just take a look at how difficult this track is with our GSRC lap guide.
Welcome to Mount Panorama Circuit. Most drivers simply refer to this place as Bathurst, with it being located just to the southwest of the city's major hub. But most ominously, and perhaps appropriately, it's been nicknamed the Mountain. With more than 500 feet of elevation change over the course of a lap, it's easy to understand why. Though originally built for racing, it's become a street circuit over time, with the track itself used for regular traffic and featuring residential housing all along the roads. This makes this 4-mile, 23-turn course incredibly unique in the world of racing. In the past, the track has hosted a variety of types of cars, including open-wheelers. But modern safety standards means that most competitive racing has now been limited to sports cars and touring cars. However, the dangers are very real due to the incredibly high speeds and lack of runoff throughout much of the circuit. The quickest parts are the run up the mountain straight towards Griffin's Bend, and then the flat-out blast back down the Conrad Straight and into the chase. This chicane was added in the late 80s to break up the run down to Murray's Corner. But while most chicanes are derided for ruining the character of a track, the terrifying speed as you approach it and the general difficulty make it fit right in with Bathurst challenges. However, the toughest portions are undoubtedly along the mountain itself, with notorious corners like the Cutting, Brock Skyline, the Dipper, and Forest Elbow. In fact, one of the more unique worries of this course is that all of these parts are so narrow that track blockages due to wrecks are not uncommon in the first few laps. The Australian fans often line the fences and hillsides to witness the daredevil spectacle of drivers trying to claim King of the Mountain. You can't blame them with how rare of a sight a track like Bathurst is today.
A very intense track here at the Mountain. Dawson, take us a little bit deeper into what these drivers have in store for them tonight on this 23-turn course.
Well, we're here in the land down under, the Great Mountain. Huge course, infamous around the world. Everybody knows about it. Famous for their GT3 racing, their endurance racing, even the V8 supercars. But this time we're going to have a little bit different V8, one from across the pond. The NASCAR trucks taking this 4-mile course that is ruthless under normal circumstances. They're going to be driving for 1 hour, and they're going to have to do it all with alcohol involved. This is going to be really tough. This is a tough race without that in play. So they are going to have to be on top of their game, and I'm sure we're going to see plenty of crashes.
And there was a little bit of a change. That was my fault. 20-minute qualifying session here and a 40-minute race is what these drivers are going to do. So there won't necessarily be a ton of laps on this ginormous course, but nonetheless, it will make for some interesting racing, because here are our official rules tonight. Between the green flag and the checkered flag, all drivers must either consume 4 12-ounce alcoholic beverages or take 4 stop-and-goes down pit road. And they are designated as such. You can't mix it up, so you can't do a few drinks and then go stop on pit road. You do one or the other. There is no limit to how many drinks you can have at one time. If you want to drink 48 ounces of alcoholic beverages, you can do so. And yes, there is a minimum of the alcohol in the drink as well. So every driver, though, is going to be on the gentleman code, if you will. Everyone is going to have to be truthful about when they drink, and there is no help as well. You're not able to do a little bit of beer pong before this or anything like that. Yeah, you have to drink 48 ounces of alcoholic beverage, I should say, between the green and the checkered flag. And just like we have mentioned at the other 2 races that they have done doing these 4 Drink Fridays, it's hard enough to drive on this track sober. much less with 48 ounces of alcoholic beverages.
Absolutely, and I think you mentioned it's only 40 minutes, so roughly you're averaging about a drink every 10 minutes, unless, like you said, some drivers, they take all of them in one go, which is a very impressive task, just let alone, but now you're going to have to also be driving on top of that. So we're going to see, there's going to be all kinds of different strategies. You know, what do drivers do? Where do they pull off? Mount Bathurst. This place is very hard. There's not a lot of runoff. There's not a lot of room. Really, the straightaways are about the only place you can pull off. So finding a safe place to stop could be a really big key, and also getting back up to speed quick.
And yes, there is no drinking and driving. And of course, we are not promoting that here or anything. Of course, this is in sim, nothing at risk. We do not at all recommend drinking and driving. Keep your life not at stake and not the lives of others as well. Do not drink and drive. And these drivers will not be able to drink while driving. They do have to come to a complete stop to consume their beverage. And on top of that, you cannot be drinking your beverage if you are getting service on your car. If you do want to get car service, you must drink it before or after the pit stop happens at a complete stop. And another thing to kind of take out of the equation to let these drivers have a little bit of fun, these are fixed setups, so everyone is running the same, I believe, Toyota Tundra or Chevy Silverado or Ford F-150, excuse me. There's only 2 different truck manufacturers in today's race, but those are just a couple of the rules that we have here tonight. And of course, we have to give a big thank you to the sponsors who make this happen. One of the most exciting races that I've ever seen thus far, and we will add to that chapter tonight. And it's brought by Sunset Mortgage. Don't put your money in the bank, be the bank. Check them out today at sunsetcash.net. And who we think that everyone should be drinking right now. Yes, Octavio Tequila. Celebrate now for a great tasting tequila. Go to octaviotequila.com and purchase today and drink for them if you're in the race right now. And Century Financial Consultants, making the rest of your life the best of your life. You can check out their website at centuryretire.com. And if you would like to be advertising with GSRC, our 1 million monthly global impressions, yeah, you're probably going to like them getting out to a diverse audience. Be sure to check out the link on our YouTube page and below on this YouTube video. And also you can go to globalsimracingchannel.com/advertising. Well, Dawson, as we watch these drivers go out, make some laps right now, Nielsen Lawrence, your leader, Matthew Hollander in second, Michael Bolton in third. A little bit more about these drivers. This is the Porsche Owners Club based out of California. Every single one of these drivers owns a Porsche in real life, and they either do time trials. I'm not drinking up here in the booth, guys. It's just the drivers. Or they'll do wheel-to-wheel racing in their real-life Porsches. They came to the iRacing platform and are broadcasting with GSRC for their first season, and they are in the midst of their second season right now. And they decided to add this on, a really fun race once a month. We've seen 2 so far, and they have been dynamic, exciting, and just as ridiculous as you might think they can turn out.
Yeah, and if you've been watching qualifying here, I'm not sure if you may have noticed, I believe damage is off from what I've seen. So maybe to make it a little bit easier, you hit one of these walls. If you know that uphill section at the top of the mountain and how tight it is and how easy it is to make a mistake, especially in a vehicle that's not meant for road racing. I mean, this is an oval first type of vehicle. They've decided to go with the damage off. These things roll very easily, very top heavy vehicles. So we shouldn't have to see people pitting to repair damage. It should just be a free-for-all and just go, not have to worry about rubbing fenders or maybe scraping the wall here and there. You should be good to go. It's an all-out sprint race.
9 drivers have qualified so far. 16 right now entered in the race. We'll see how many of them decide to go through with this, because it is a very difficult task just racing these cars at a track like this. You have the S's that are so tight, there's not really a passing zone right there. These trucks do not like to turn right in the first place, much less drive through the S's without the rear end kicking out. And then, of course, you add 4 alcoholic beverages. But Dawson, what do you see being the most important part tonight if you want to end up in 4 Drink Friday victory lane?
Absolutely, hands down, getting that alcoholic beverages down as quick as you can. The person who spends the least amount of time sitting still, they're going to be the one who is ending up taking the victory, I think. And you stay out of trouble, that's going to be another huge part. That'd probably be my second key. But number 1, get those beverages down and don't let it affect your racecraft.
And as we mentioned, yeah, this is going to be fun. These rear ends do not like to stay under you when you're turning right. Right here is Nico Silva, and you'll see next to him it says DD in parentheses. That stands for designated driver. So every driver that has a DD in front of their name, and right now it looks like that's just going to be Ron Palmer, Adam Fulton, and Nico Silva. They will be doing the non-alcoholic portion of this race. 4 stop-and-goes down pit road as opposed to 4 stop-and-drinks somewhere on the track. So that'll be the difference for some of these drivers, but just 3 of them choosing to go the non-alcoholic route. Everyone else will have to consume those 4 beverages. You're going to consume them all at the same time. Nothing in the rules against that, but you must consume 48 ounces before the checkered flag flies, and you must be at a complete stop before you drink them. And of course, this is all set on us believing that they are giving their word. This is all on them giving their word. There is no way for us to throw webcams in there and make sure that they are drinking it all. But this is all just for fun. There's not really a point series involved. They've already done 2 of them without points. So this is just for fun. So it's all based on their word because everyone here is just trying to have a good time here on Friday night.
Yeah, and that'll be an interesting thing. And make sure you stick around for after the broadcast when we talk to these guys, because we're not going to get to know exactly what the strategies are. We're just going to be kind of guessing based on how much time you're sitting still and how many times you stop on what they were actually doing. After the race, we'll get to talk to the drivers and ask them what they've been drinking, what was their drinking choice tonight, how they did it, how fast they were able to do it, and how much it affected their driving. So it'll be a blast to listen to these guys talk about it, so make sure you stick around.
And I know that as announcers, that's a very large cliche. We want you to stick around. We want you to watch the entire broadcast. It does great for analytics for us. But quite honestly, stick around for the interviews, because I was watching and I was announcing when these drivers did their first 4-Drink Friday, the 1987 cars at Watkins Glen, which was just a phenomenal mess. That was my favorite post-race interviews that I've ever had in my entire life of professional broadcasting. You will want to stay tuned and listen to those interviews, because these drivers, like I mentioned, are here to have fun on Friday night, and they certainly do.
Getting down here, about 2 minutes left. Now, all these drivers, this isn't just an unlimited qualifying setup here. You get to turn 3 laps. So some of these drivers have been done. Only the top 9, it looks like, have put down times, or maybe we're getting a refresh here just to see. So we're kind of just waiting for the clock to tick down and to get the starting point. I don't think starting position is actually going to be that big of a key. If I'm one of the guys starting in the back, maybe that's why we haven't seen everybody turn a lap, is Nelson Lawrence goes fastest with a 2:12.6, so a great lap there. But no, I think if you're one of the guys starting in the back of the pack, take a drink right away and get it done with.
And I think that one of the issues that we've been having, while only 9 drivers have taken time, 5 of the drivers who have not taken time have hit the track at least for their warm-up lap and then some of their first lap, but some of these drivers just having a really difficult time trying to push these cars to the limit before they get their alcoholic beverages in, much less once we go green here in, I don't know, about 5 minutes or so. So, again, just how difficult the track is when you're sober.
Yeah, we talked about raining V8 supercars here. I think this is going to be that's a comparable thing. I think the V8 supercars are much easier to catch slides than the Vs. So you're already taking something that's super difficult in those V8 supercars, and you're adding more difficulty to it. So this is a tough race. If you have iRacing, I would try this car track combination. It's a ton of fun. Just see how hard it is sober, and then think on top of that, we're going to add a little bit of alcohol to it to mix things up. Here as it goes up into the mountain section, look at how tight these areas are. If we get a mistake up here, we could block the entire road. You could see a complete stop and waiting for cars to clear. So this track, if you are not familiar, look it up. There have been massive wrecks here in real life. Not a lot of room here in this uphill section, so I would expect to see a lot of incidents up here through these 40 minutes.
And we do have a late entry, Connor Bloom, who has been fantastic in the GT3 class in the Porsche races, but he also won the 2 practice races that this series held earlier this week. I don't know if there's alcohol involved in those, but with his late entry, you got to believe that he's going to be a favorite here tonight. Well, let's get the trucks down on the grid and check out tonight's starting lineup. Your pole sitter tonight with a lap time of 2 minutes, 12 seconds, .684, Nielsen Lawrence. Up front, Matt Hollander will start off in second, Michael Bolton in third, who won the inaugural 4-Drink Friday. Michael W. Johnson starts in fourth, Bo Borders in fifth, Eric Oviatt starts in sixth, Savak Bagarian in 7th. Ron Palmer, who will be a designated driver going in and doing stop and goes, will start 8th. John Momeyer will start 9th. Connor Bloom will start in 10th.
Bryce Kluwer going to start out on the 6th row. Then we have BJ Fulton. Then on row 7, we have 2 of our designated drivers, Nico Silva and Adam Fulton, starting 13th and 14th. Then to round out our last 3, Jeffrey Schloom, Aaron Edwards, and Jeffrey Sykes.
Well, this will certainly be interesting. Luckily, these guys don't have to go the entire pace lap on this extremely long course. They'll get to start about midway through. But what are the odds that we see a wreck here, Dawson, in the first 3 corners? You thought I was going to say laps, but no, corners.
Yeah, no, corners. Well, I'm trying to think. Well, if you just looked at that qualifying, I believe from pole to 9th place, which was our last time, it's an 11-second gap. That's a pretty big gap. The first 3 corners, obviously you have that left-hander, then you go up the long hill, and then you have that right and left. Yeah, I think first 3 corners, we got a good chance.
It appears that damage is off, so these drivers will have a very forgiving race with everything already thrown at them. The NASCAR Truck Series, and actually now that I'm looking at it, we might have every single manufacturer here today racing in this Ford Drink Friday, heading down to the mountain in Australia to try to go for 40 minutes, plus every driver must consume 4 12-ounce glasses of alcohol, of an alcoholic drink, mind you. So all the drivers now moving it into first gear. 4 drinks between the green flag and the checkered flag at any time. You must stop and pull over, and you can drink as many as you want at once, but you have to drink all of them before the checkered flag flies. Nielsen Lawrence will bring these cars to the green alongside Matt Hollander here tonight. The Porsche pulls on over onto pit road. It is time for Ford Drink Friday. The Americans going down under at the mountain. Off the corner, green flag is in the air. Ford Drink Friday is green.
We're going 3 wide into turn 1, and they're about 10 cars back. So far clean. We have not had an incident yet.
One driver pulls off. It looks like Connor Bloom is taking an early strategy. Look at all these drivers. Whoa, already chaos in the back as these drivers try to strategize and take an early drink. Deep contact in the back. That might have been Bagarian and Aaron Edwards, I believe.
Matthew Hollander also taking a stop. Jeffrey Sykes. Everybody trying to get these drinks done right away. A couple of drivers starting from pit road coming out as well as we look at the leaders going through up into the mountain section. Your leader currently, Nelson Lawrence.
That actually might be a good strategy, starting from pit road as the car is around here in the middle of the corner. That is Bo Borders in the middle of traffic.
Oh no.
Extremely lucky that that many drivers got through unscathed, and this is why there's no damage on right now. That truck would be absolutely demolished. But starting on pit road might be a good strategy. There are no tire changes, no gas going into your car. There's a mandatory stop. I think you have to wait about 30 seconds or so before you're allowed to exit your pit stall. Maybe grab some drinks right there on pit road and then go and start your race. And then you're behind some of this craziness as well.
I'm just looking at, I'm spitballing here, is about 20 seconds that Figarian was stopped. So I can't really guess how many drinks that possibly was for him, but I'm going to guess he's going to take another stop here later on.
And one thing that we saw in the first Ford Drink Friday at Watkins Glen, some drivers are much better at drinking alcoholic beverages speed-wise than other drivers. So that, of course, can also come into effect. Contact down the straightaway. Looks like Ron Palmer had a little bit of contact there with Bryce Gilwer. Got him in the wall, but again, with damage off, thankfully, all you lose is time right now. But only 2 minutes into this 40-minute race, and we are already extremely spread out across the track.
And we talked about that gap in times. Even in practice, some of these guys turning very, very slow laps. But honestly, in the end, it's not really going to matter. It's more about how you can handle your alcohol and not make mistakes.
And of course, none of us in the booth are having any alcoholic beverages, especially our director, Joe Peak, who is on his A game right now, just trying to follow these cars at such a difficult course. A lot of drivers probably going off course, a lot of drivers making very random stops as well. So A lot of action going on across the track here. Taking a look at your leaders, Nielsen Lawrence in the camo up front, Johnson in the yellow behind him, Michael Bolton in the black truck back in third place. This is your top 3 right now, coming down to 3 minutes into this 40-minute race at the mountain.
See, and I really like what these top 3 are doing. I think they're spread out enough that they can turn really good laps and not have to have any drinks in them. Turn some fast laps while you can, while the track is clear. And if you have an incident like we saw Figarian early on, got wrecked, stop right there. You already stopped. You might as well take that drink. So we look, Bo Borders going up to the uphill right, and we have a car stop, just narrowly missing. I believe that was the 9 of Moormeyer.
Here is a hornet's nest. This is what you don't want to see sliding through these S's right now. Door to door into the wall. Already making a ton of contact in those regular paint schemes. Definitely
Connor Bloom stuck.
I believe Adam Fulton in that as well.
You talked about Bloom being a favorite.
Oh, and I believe someone just took a tow.
Ooh.
That is going to be costly if they in fact took a tow. Here's a look back at how this cluster became so large. Shulam here on the right in the regular iRacing car up front. He gets into the wall, and then chaos behind them.
Look at that. And then you're just, with how tight this is, you're just stuck there. Nowhere to go, no runoffs or anything.
And this is live right here. Shulam has backed into a
stop.
little pocket, and he's going to grab a couple of drinks right now.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. The rear tires have been lifted off the ground. What looked like a phenomenal idea turns into a tow, and is going to be a huge loss of time. John Momeyer also pulled off the track in the S's, and he might have consumed a drink as well.
Yeah, and he was involved in that incident. I think that's what you got to do. Keep running until you get stopped to no fault of your own. Lawrence putting down a fastest time. That's about what his qualifying time was, up to 12:09. So we see Connor Bloom. He had a little issue in the uphill section. Now coming into, I believe that's the chase. Slide, big slide.
And even directly in front of him, another car off track almost was able to save that. And it looks like the 277, that is BJ Fulton. He's getting off the track. He might have had an issue and decided, well, let's just take a little bit of the edge off.
Probably a safe place to stop as he merges, almost getting contact with, I believe that was the 18.
See, I would say that's a safe place to stop until you see the 2 cars sliding through the grass towards you. Then you're probably like, I'm not going to stop here again next time.
Yeah, there's this track being as narrow as it is, there's no good place. I would want to stop on pavement so you get started up quicker. These slick tires on the grass, just, you know, you got to spin the tires to get out of there. See, going side by side, coming up the uphill section. We've already seen a little bit of action between these 3. They were stopped up in the mountain, I believe, last lap. So Connor Bloom gonna make the pass and gives it a big slide.
Really unfortunate there for Ron Palmer. He gets into the back
Stick with
and
it.
not able to save it. Oh, man. And, of course, that's difficult to do on its own, but then you got to wonder how many drinks he has so far, as Adam Fulton narrowly avoids that and is now under pressure behind him, as BJ Fulton will take over 11th. Or 10th, mind you, and another driver sideways. This is the 12 car, Eric Obiot, who is in 3rd, and he can't get that car straight right now.
In a bad spot. That's a blind corner up there. He's able to get it going. Car's still wiggling. I'm sure those tires are not happy.
Bryce Kilweir also spinning out in the S's. Another driver. This is, yeah, these drivers right here in the S's, in some of these corners right here, not having a good time at all.
Right there, force elbow, very tight corner. Hard enough in a supercar. No downforce on these things.
So a couple of notes from the group chat. It looks like Nico Silva may have already made 3 stop and goes. He is a designated driver, so he may only have 1 more stop to go. And if so, he's only in 13th right now. Along with that, it looks like a couple of other drivers. Savak Bagarian looks like has taken at least 2 drinks on his own. And now, yeah, here's Bolton pulling on over. He'll get a drink.
I like this spot right here.
Right on pavement, right on the exit of a corner.
Just really as long as somebody doesn't blow the braking zone here into turn 1.
Looks like Oviat is also stopped. He's getting himself a drink out in the grass. This is a similar spot to what we saw earlier. I do not like this spot after I saw a few cars driving through this spot. John Momeyer is also, or excuse me, this is Momeyer. He's taking his drink right now. I'm just trying to watch the group chat the best I can. Oh yeah, this is Oviatt, excuse me. So Momeyer has also stopped on the track. He's getting his own drink as well.
Now back up to speed. Trying to see how our designated drivers are doing. Aaron Edwards going a little wide. Our designated yep. The DD's, I mean, currently sitting in 11th. Oh, Ron Palmer going around. Ron Palmer, he's been in enough incidents. He is actually a designated driver, so no alcohol in his system. He's just, I mean, yeah, supposedly. But this is a hard enough track and car combination to where a couple of mistakes here and there are understood, going side by side into the final corner.
Battling for 12th here with Jeffrey Sykes. Looks like Savak Fagarian is up to drink number 3 now. So he has almost completed all 4 of his 12-ounce alcoholic beverages with just under 10 minutes through here, this 40-minute race. More issues here for Palmer. And now taking a look at it, Fagarian had a nice little nook there in the grass. And behind him goes Nielsen Lawrence around. He's currently in 2nd place, and he might pull over into the grass and grab himself a drink as well.
He's going to keep going. He had a nice little ricochet off of the wall there to get back going. Bolton now just right behind him. That is 4th position, as we see right on board with him now. Coming down into the chase. This is a hard corner, especially in these. Gaining a lot of ground here.
Battle for 2nd. Lawrence ahead on board here with Michael Bolton, closing in very quickly here into this section of the track. But a really good corner there for Nielsen Lawrence, trying to run away a little bit sideways there on exit.
Lots of dirt there, and I guess you can account that towards the people running wide here and there. Dirt getting over the track, a little less grip, even on the racing line. But these trucks, you see, getting a little tail happy.
Connor Bloom going around. He had a little bit of contact and now running through the grass. Looks like he had contact with Jeffrey Shulam. They're both going to keep going and not stopping for a drink. Connor Bloom now sitting in 5th place, the winner of both practice races for this series, rocking the Carl Edwards throwback on his Ford F-150.
Really early to tell here where everybody's at and who's maybe on the better strategy, but so far Johnson and Bolton have had great pace. As Bloom going to run a little wide, but he's going to make it work.
It looks like Matt Hollander, who has been a leader for a bit of the early part of the race, may only be on drink number 2, so halfway, compared to some of these drivers are extremely close to being done as far as we know. And there are some drivers who might already be complete if they're able to down those 4 alcoholic beverages very quickly, and we are just over 10 minutes through this race.
The 18, or the not, Adam Fulton, he is our designated driver. Now see, this is what, in place of doing a drink, he just comes to a stop on pit road. The California driver currently sits in 11th. We've had one retirement, Bo Borders. He has called it quits for the day, leaving 16 cars left out on track. Ron Palmer, also another one of those designated drivers, also a California driver. See, these California people, they really like their Porsches.
I would have to agree. The Porsche Owners Club taking in some trucks here tonight. More drivers trying to find places on the track, but for now, here's a battle for 3rd. Nielsen Lawrence trying to hold off Connor Bloom. You see Bloom right here, Lawrence just in front of him, and he is sideways, and around is, Lawrence was around, and that was close, almost tags Connor Bloom, and he might be under attack now from potentially Matt Hollander right behind him. Here's a replay.
Getting a little bit of the curb there, getting sideways. Now just look at how blind these corners are here. You can't see the next one's coming up, and you got to set it up good. Forest Elbow, one of the tougher corners on this track, really easy to run wide and tag that outside wall. You're going to see Lawrence slide the tires and just gets away with a little neck on the rear corner panel. Nothing hurt for Bloom.
Well, your leader right now is Michael W. Johnson, still leading the way over Michael Bolton, and now Connor Bloom into the 3rd position. Hollander did move himself into 4th around Nielsen Lawrence when he had his issue. But so far, now up to a 30.7 second lead for Michael Johnson. Gotta wonder what his strategy is to try to get in some of that alcohol.
You know, I think I'm cool with, if I'm him, I just want to turn as many laps as I can and rely on other people to make mistakes. As soon as you make that mistake, pound a drink. But right now with a big lead, you have 30 seconds, and I mean, that can take care of 2 drinks with that lead. So great job sliding those tires on these mistakes. Just can't have.
Stopping, and you gotta wonder if he's just gonna try to pull over here, maybe grab a drink. He's already lost time. You want to maximize that time, because sometimes get up to speed time, it doesn't help you when you have to slow down again later in the race. Still has that very large lead. Far behind him, about 30 seconds, is Michael Bolton, graduate from the Bondurant Racing School in Chandler, Arizona, certified for racing and stunt driving with motion pictures. And you gotta imagine that some stunt driving might be some good experience to have in this race.
Absolutely. As much as these cars slide and drift, knowing how to counter steer and control your vehicle, that sounds like a really fun job. I'm kind of jealous. As we look here, battle for 8th. Aaron Edwards and Nico Silva, about a 15-second gap.
It looks like one of them might have fallen off the pace a little bit, and already a little wiggle there. Now looking at the 12 machine here of Eric Oviatt, he's stopped and grabbed a little bit more alcohol.
If you can see, maybe just dragging a little bit of dirt back out onto the surface. That gets blown away after a couple vehicles go through, but still, with this little grip as these drivers have on throttle, side by side going into Corey Bend, and the leader Michael Johnson in the 18 gonna get through. We talked about Johnson's lead being 30 seconds. It is now down to 20 seconds as we saw Johnson make a little bit of a mistake last lap.
And we do know for a fact now, Nico Silva, a designated driver, has made all 4 of his stop and go, so he is good for the rest of the race. He's currently in 8th place, still on the lead lap. And also, Savak Fagarian has had all 4 of his drinks as well. So Fagarian is ready to go, and right now you're looking at Nielsen Lawrence trying to down himself another drink. He's sitting in the top 5. Aaron Edwards has also stopped. Granted, he's the wrong direction at the track. Here's Savak Fagarian finishing his final alcoholic beverage and back out on the track after his pit stop.
I'm sure it's a great feeling, you know, to get those stops out of the way, but then you got to think, how much is your driving being hurt now for these next 25 minutes? You see cars almost in synchronization in the background going into the wall there in turn 1.
And an update on Nielsen Lawrence. It looks like that is drink number 3 for Lawrence, so he is almost through his 4 alcoholic drinks. He is currently in the 6th position now in the 302.
Looking at the chat, I believe Lawrence is representing White Claws, as he claims there are no laws while you're drinking the Claws.
The only law should be that what you should be drinking is Octavio tequila and no other, so we are going to have to go and talk with him about that post-race. Looks like Ron Palmer having issues, and he gets absolutely hammered as he was stuck in the middle of the S's.
Ooh.
And just kind of the chaos that you happen to have sometimes when you have cars having issues. John Momeyer now, he's crooked as well. Here's a replay here of the 8 machine of Ron Palmer, and now you got to give it a minute here because he tries to strain himself out a little bit and is not able to do it. One driver narrowly avoids, and the next driver not so fortunate.
See, this is a little uphill section, really blind, nowhere to go, and well, that's
why damage is off.
Yeah. Can you imagine the new damage model with this?
I mean, I think we would enjoy it. I don't know so much the drivers. And again, glad to have you here on GSRC for 4 Drink Friday with Porsche Owners Club. Between green and checkered, having to consume at least 4 12-ounce alcoholic beverages. Of course, in no manner are we promoting drinking and driving. This is all safe inside the sim. The worst that can happen to these guys is maybe falling out of their seat just from how difficult this track is in the first place anyway. But again, we are not promoting drinking and driving. Do not drink and drive and risk your life or someone else's. But you know, sometimes on a sim, I don't think the people in official races would like it all so much, but I think some of these drivers might just say it's a little bit of fun.
if anything, this is maybe a lesson on why you should not drink and drive. So maybe a little bit of educational value there. So we watch Michael Johnson go through the uphill section. Texas driver, the only driver from Texas. Everybody else is out west. Getting a little sideways there. I kind of wonder how are these tires holding up? I mean, it's obviously new tires, even on road courses, make a big difference. I believe Watkins Glen, it's roughly like 10 laps in any of the NASCAR series vehicles where you start to really even see a pace difference. But as much as these guys are sliding these tires, the heat and everything have really got to be bothering them.
And these drivers can go into the pits and have 4 tires. You cannot drink your beverage while on pit road getting service. You can wait until after you get some tires and fuel though as well, but tires are not off the table. You can go down pit road, pick up 4 fresh pairs of tires, take a drink afterwards, and then go out. So that's another potential factor that could come into this race in the final half coming up here.
Johnson's lead, we keep seeing it get smaller and smaller, and he's been making a couple of mistakes. Bolton doing a great job, as we said, our stunt driver from California in the 1, repping the Mercedes AMG F1 scheme, that black that looks really sharp. If you haven't seen that, definitely go check that out. Slowly chipping away at that lead.
Trying to keep you guys updated on who is where. We already mentioned Nico Silva, designated driver. He is done with his drive-throughs. It looks like Matt Hollander is halfway through. He has 2 drinks. Savak Bagarian, he is done with his drinks. John Momeyer, who has had just a very unlucky time thus far. I believe he has 3 drinks in so far. So just a few of the drivers, but the guys that you have up front, Michael Johnson, Michael Bolton, and BJ Fulton, all of them, I believe, as far as we know, have 1 or less drinks so far. BJ Fulton, major issues here on the front straightaway. He might be stuck in the wall, and this would be a very costly tow.
I'm starting to... That might be a great spot to take a drink right there. Oh, maybe not. It's a 263 of Farragon. Gives him a little love tap.
As long as he is not stuck in the wall, that's good news, but we will see. Nielsen Lawrence, he is not a designated driver, so this trip down pit road might just be for tires here.
And right at the halfway point, it would make sense. I'm going to guess that he will be taking 4 Goodyears.
Fulton is stuck. Oh, okay, there we go. He had his right rear tire up off the wall. He had a very difficult time getting off the wall. But it looks like BJ Fulton grabs, he might have got a couple drinks. He spent a while there. But now trying to get back down the front straightaways, Lawrence looks for 4 new Goodyear rubbers. And Fulton might have a few drinks in him as he spins out trying to go straight down the front straightaway.
Ron Palmer just came from a stop, and I know we've said that Ron is one of our designated drivers, but it's almost like he might have decided not to be a designated driver. Maybe the wife let him have a couple beers tonight. So he's been making stops on the track. So I'm kind of curious what the situation is there.
Taking a look here at Ron Palmer, 1 lap down, currently in the 13th position. Matt Hollander has moved into 3rd. Connor Bloom has moved into 4th. Michael Bolton has now hit pit road himself. So it looks like the 2nd place driver hitting pit road and grabbing some fresh Goodyear Eagles.
Yeah, I would understand. As much as we've seen these cars slide around, I'm sure tires are probably going to be enough of a commodity to these guys. I think that's a really safe bet. We still, I believe, have we seen Michael Johnson come down pit road yet?
I have not seen Michael Johnson do very much at all. So your leader, he had a 24-second advantage once Bolton finally got onto pit road, but the 18 Chevy Silverado here of Michael Johnson leading the way by a large gap. And I think, as far as we can tell, has only had 1 drink as well. So right now he's more concerned about driving than trying to get in either tires or the required amount of alcoholic beverages.
I think in this type of a race, a quiet race is a good race, and he might be saving that last stop maybe for that final lap. If he believes he can down 3 drinks right near the end, he's got over a minute lead, I believe. We might have to wait for our timing to refresh quick. It looks like, I believe it's a minute and 5 seconds lead, so that's plenty of time to get 3 drinks down. It just might not feel the greatest after it.
And it looks like Michael Bolton has tried to put down 2 drinks. That would put him at, I believe, 3 drinks now. So Bolton on pit road after service, getting more service, and is almost done with his designated amount of alcohol.
He currently sits, I believe it's around 24 seconds behind Hollander, so a little bit of time to make up to that 19 machine.
And Hollander right now in second. He has already had 3 drinks. The Scottsdale, Arizona native. Been with the POC since 2005. The top driver in the Spec Boxer Championship in the POC. And has been sim racing for 15 years. So some of that sim racing experience going along with what looks to be some pretty stellar drinking as well. Has him currently in second, but still over a minute behind Michael Johnson. Another driver on pit road. This is the 277 of BJ Fulton. This looks like a stop here for tires and potentially a little bit of gasoline as well.
And these V8s, probably not the most fuel efficient of road vehicles when you bring them here. So far, the car not going up on jacks, so he may not be taking tires. As he is away, yes, no tires for the 277. Oh, wait, now he's going to take his drink.
Even backed up a little bit there, but still trying to get in that drink now.
Yeah, he took his drink, and now he's going to take the service. Okay.
And I really hope that he did not miss his pit stall right there directly after having that drink, and then had to back up while going about 20 miles an hour. But BJ Fulton, some service to the car, some service to himself, and looks like might be downing another one through the hatch here, another one off pit road.
Riding on board Johnson. You know, you talked about they've had practice races, and I can imagine that Johnson has put in at least some amount of practice. This is not something you just come in and put down this good of a pace. So hats off to him. We still have, I believe we've got him at only 1 stop. So we will see what happens after he takes his last 2 beverages. Again, still about a minute 5 second lead over the 10 car. I got that wrong before. Johnson is in the 18, Hollander in the 10.
And meanwhile, BJ Fulton has fallen to the 9th position. He now has, we believe, 3 drinks down, paying the wall off of 1 corner exit and gets lapped by Michael Bolton, who's currently in the 3rd position. Bolton himself, he recently just had 2 drinks, but it looks like that might just be it for him. So some of the leaders, 2 or less drinks so far, so we'll certainly have to have a little bit more service before this is said and done in 15 minutes.
Bolton is catching Hollander. Looking at the splits here, about 10 seconds back now. That's down from 24 seconds a couple laps ago. Is all the way down to 9 seconds now. If you look at those last laps, Bolton, I believe he would have taken a stop as it was a 3:10.
And Michael Johnson is on pit road now. Looks like maybe some fresh rubber for Johnson, and maybe going to try to get more of his service, a little bit more gasoline in his tank.
Would this be considered an overcut? I guess probably the tires don't make enough of a difference for Johnson. I would expect him to possibly take a drink here as he's on pit road. Oh, we have a car upside down. That's the 87, Adam Fulton.
And that will be a costly tow for him. A designated driver, and he has to tow all the way back to the pits. And it is a long tow here at Mount Panorama.
This is a very fast section here right into the chase. And just going very wide. A little alternate line there.
And no, he is not one consuming alcohol.
And finally coming to rest on his lid, as Johnson is away. Our race leader, that is Hollander right behind him. And Bolton right behind him, as you can see, the other black truck in the background.
Hollander has 3 drinks in according to the group chat, and I cannot find any for Michael Johnson, so he might not be putting it in the chat, but right now it's 0 drinks to 3 with only a 4.3 differential on track between Johnson and Hollander. We're looking at Michael Bolton right now. He is only about another 4 seconds behind Hollander in the 3rd position.
And we've been kind of keeping check as, just missing the 8 car. Oh, the 9 car, excuse me. That's Moormeyer. Bolton, he's been closing that gap, so kind of have a battle forming up here for second place as that gap has come from, I believe it was 24 seconds to 10 when we checked in last. Now down to 3, inside 3 seconds. So that 1 car is on rails as much as they can be in the situation that we have in this race. It's a car stop. That's the 5 car. He looks suck.
And meanwhile, for Bolton, who's in third, he has had the regulated amount, the required amount, I should say, of alcoholic beverages. So right now, Bolton in third is good to go. And there's your replay, the 5 car there. Edwards getting stuck in the fence.
Aaron Edwards, not a designated driver, so alcohol may have played a factor into this wreck. Just cooked it a little too much. It's really easy to do here in this downhill section. Hop it off the curb. Ooh.
Might have had some shifting problems there. Sounded like the gearing wasn't exactly correct going down through that section. So might that also have something to do with the amount of alcohol that these drivers are consuming? As meanwhile, Michael Bolton is taking the lead. He passed both Michael Johnson and Matt Hollander, and Bolton is back up front.
Bolton's pace has been very impressive. We've been mentioning it.
So here's a look at Bolton coming down the mountain here. I believe he still has both drivers in front of him. Matt Hollander is now actually taking his car to pit road, probably looking for some fresh rubber after this.
Ooh, big. That was in Forrest's elbow. That was Johnson, who was your leader, and I believe, who is that? 302? Oh,
and that was Hollander as well.
Ooh.
Plus another driver in there, Nico Silva, a designated driver, gets caught up with Johnson. And then here comes flying into the equation. Wow, perfectly the seats parted right there. And just a reminder, Johnson is on Bolton here, but we know for a fact that Bolton has all 4 of his drinks down already.
This is great pace for this 1 car. Johnson giving him pressure. I believe we're both thinking Johnson needs to have a bigger lead than this. He still has drinks to put down.
Essentially,
Hollander 44 seconds back.
Essentially,
from these two.
The pit cycle is not completed yet, is what we're trying to say.
Yep.
We are now 30 minutes through, 10 minutes to go here at Mount Panorama. Your leader is Michael Bolton, just ahead of Michael Johnson. You see the battle here. Alder's coming off the pit road. He is now 45 seconds behind this group, still in the 3rd position, followed by Nielsen Lawrence in 4th, and Connor Bloom on pit road in 5th.
Time keeps winding down here, but the blood alcohol level keeps going up. You see coming into the chase. We got a little bit here. Now we're going into the chase. Silva in the 15. He's right in front of the leaders. We saw him. He was involved in the situation with Johnson up in Forrest's elbow. Bolton doing a great job. Will we see Johnson try and dive it in? No, he's content to just follow through the final corner.
That's a really tough passing section. Bolton a little loose on corner exit. Going back into turn 1 now here. Johnson in 2nd, Bolton in 1st. Diving in, deep braking zone here.
Run a little wide. But Bolton with the undercut. He's going to get a great run. Great run up into Griffin's Bend. That's turn 2.
Bolton has been able to take every punch that Johnson has given him. After taking the lead, parting the seas a couple laps earlier, coming down to 8 minutes to go. We know Bolton is good on alcohol, not sure about Johnson.
This is not a passing zone anywhere up here, as much as the line changes and how tight it is. Johnson creeping his nose into any crack he can find as we have a car slow there. Doing a great job to avoid it. Look at the 1 car just sticking the rear end out.
Johnson closes up, trying to keep chase on Bolton, but the 1 car gets a great run off the corner, sliding downhill now. Bolton gaps just a little bit over Johnson as they continue to accelerate down through a couple of turns. Speeds keep roaring up. It looks like Johnson a little bit better braking though, but loses touch eventually. Bolton in the wall. Here comes Johnson now.
Trying to work the outside of Forest Elbow, a very tight corner. Not going to be able to make the move. Now the question is, does Johnson have a good enough run to get back alongside Bolton? Peeking out. It's going to be a very tough pass going into the chase. We're going to have a little bit of a kink coming up as they're going to be side by side.
Bolton in the black, Johnson in the red and yellow. Johnson goes just a little off track. That might give Bolton just enough to clear him. Going back up through a hill, the one car advances back to the lead. Under 7 minutes remaining now. Bolton is good on alcohol. We don't know about Johnson. But for now, just trying to run the rear tires off that one car best he can as they come back down to complete another lap here at Mount Panorama.
A little bit of lap traffic in front of them. It's a 14 car Schloom. Ooh, getting a little bit in the way. Oh, Bolton with a big slide.
Wow, Johnson going around the right side and is back up in the lead. And that's just the chaos that a thin track like this is able to cause. And Bolton is really using up those rear tires.
If those headlights weren't stickers, we would probably see them flashing as the 14 car going to give him the line now. Bolton going to have to make an attack back as they go into this upper mountain section. We've seen great pace from both of these drivers this entire race.
And something that we have mentioned in both of the 4 Drink Fridays prior to this, when you're at a track like this, is some of these drivers' mistakes just because of how difficult this track is with this combination, or is it the alcohol? And oftentimes we simply reply, yes.
Still giving chase. Looks like Johnson is working a little bit of a gap here on the one.
Far behind these guys is Hollander. He's 37 seconds behind. Lawrence is another 51 seconds. Bloom in 5th.
Hollander needs a situation to happen between the 1 and the 18, which is an absolute possibility. He is not out of this race.
And we saw that happen to the leaders earlier, where both first and second got caught up in an incident, and that is how Bolton flew his way up to the front in front of Johnson and Hollander. And there is obviously, with this amount of alcohol and this amount of difficulty in this track and car combination, it can certainly happen again as these tires continue to wear here in the final 5 minutes of this race.
I want to give a shout out here to our 7th place driver, the 15 of Silva. He's been in front of this battle. We've just kind of seen him outside of the camera of this first place battle. He's been putting down great pace, not making mistakes. So just all it takes is some unfortunate incidents in the beginning as, getting a little squirrely there. Maybe the commentator's curse, but I think he's been doing a great job putting down great lap times. Maybe if you eliminate some of the prior incidents, he'd have the pace to be running with these leaders.
Silva, the highest designated driver, now moving into the 5th position. Also the final truck, on the lead lap now. In front of him is Nielsen Lawrence, about 1 minute and 21 seconds ahead. Now looking at a few more battles here on the track as they continue to go up over hill and over dale here. This is Nielsen Lawrence currently in 4th. Behind him, a battle between lap cars as these drivers finish off their drinks and finish off their laps. 3:40 remaining here, and the 9 car goes for a spin. That's John Mollmeyer.
Have to get that truck moving. No traffic behind him, so all is good there. Let's go back to our leaders. Nothing has changed so far. So look at the lap times below. Basically similar. Three minutes to go. I believe the leaders will get 2 to go this time by. They actually might get the white flag. It'll be close.
Right now the leaders running laps around 2 minutes and 17 seconds. We'll see once they come down this hill and back towards the front straightaway what that does to timing. If they do get the white flag, Will Bolton have anything left for Michael Johnson, who has just ran an absolutely phenomenal race, alcohol involved or not?
Johnson doing a great job here. Hard onto the brakes, the binders, it's just a hard braking zone. Really easy to overshoot. Not seeing many mistakes. As looking at the time here, we're at 2:10 and they haven't crossed the start-finish line, so they will get the white flag this time.
Off of the final corner, Michael Johnson. One more lap to go, this time to take 4 Drink Friday edition number 3 in the 18 car. We do not know how many drinks he has had. We didn't really see him pull over much, and this is it. He did not have, he might have not had any drinks at all and was just trying to get away from Michael Bolton. But now Bolton takes the lead. We know he is good to the end, and he has a ginormous lead over Matt Hollander.
Where is Hollander? Is Hollander going to be able to lap Johnson? Lawrence just a little bit past Hollander as we take a look.
Oh, they're not really even that close to the line yet. He's still got a while to go.
And Johnson is on his way. So
and that's the strategy that we talked about at the start of the race. That's the difference between Bolton going early and Johnson, who is running a phenomenal pace. If he wouldn't have got caught up in a couple of incidences, that strategy might just have worked. But now, a 20-second gap between him and Bolton.
Bolton, I mean, you got to hand it to him. He's had amazing pace this entire race. We saw him catch Hollander. We saw him catch Johnson. Even with a little bit of help of incidents, but great pace from this one machine.
Able to do so with 4 alcoholic beverages of 12 ounces. Don't know how many of them he drank at the same time or not, but certainly strategized the best out of anyone along with that phenomenal pace. The car in front of him right now is Nico Silva in 5th place. The final car on the lead lap, he is a designated driver who just made 4 stop and goes, but still a good run for Silva. Lawrence is in 4th right now as well. Haven't talked a lot about him recently. But Bolton just needs to make these final few corners, even on that high alcohol level right now. It's no walk in the park here.
Bolton's only lost about 3 seconds of pace from the start of the race to the end of the race. So if you could attribute 3 seconds to 4 drinks, that'd be something you can do.
Yeah, I would say that is a pretty good time difference. Well, coming off the final corner, it turns out to be a last lap pass, but the one truck of Michael Bolton will head to 4 Drink Friday victory lane again. Michael Bolton wins at Mount Panorama. Michael Johnson in 2nd. He is almost 40 seconds behind. Hollander about another 10 seconds behind him, but it looks like Johnson's strategy just not going to pay off.
Kind of disappointing, but Hollander only 10 seconds back. I wouldn't say that this strategy is a complete failure, maybe a mistake here or there. Is he going to have to take another drink? He is.
Gonna have to. We'll have to see. Here comes Matt Hollander looking for that 2nd position. Coming in with a head of steam. And then, oh, this one's going to be tight. For 2nd place down the front straightaway. A crash in front of them down the front straight. Side by side to the line, and it's going to be Michael Johnson in 2nd place. Hollander gave it all he had, but that strategy for Johnson just barely gives him enough to claim the 2nd position. And how about 4th place? Nielsen Lawrence had to pit Nico Silva, the top designated driver. No alcohol on him, just 4 stop and goes, and he looks like he is on pace to take home 4th.
We've talked about his pace. He's been very fast, keeping up with the leaders even. So obviously alcohol free, but you take away those 4 stops, they're really slow compared to drinking alcohol. Very impressive what he's been able to do.
So we will take a break. We will have to wait, make sure Silva makes it through. Okay, a barricade. Who is stuck on the wall? The 33 car, Bryce Kilwer, and exactly what we talked about earlier. Is it the difficulty of the track and car combination, or is it the alcohol? The answer is always yes. But it does look like Nico Silva will bring it home in 4th as we await the final drivers to come across the line, which might take a little bit. We will take our break and talk to your top 3 finishers here Another fantastic edition of 4 Drink Friday here from the Porsche Owners Club on GSRC. A wild edition of 4 Drink Friday here for the Porsche Owners Club. Takes the final lap of strategy to decide your top 3 on the podium. But the strategy and the pace that outlasted everyone else today was Michael Bolton taking another victory in 4 Drink Friday. Michael Johnson just barely able to hold on down the straightaway to defeat Matthew Hollander for spots on the podium. Your head designated driver is Nico Silva, also your GSRC hard charger tonight, moving from 13th to 4th. Rounding out the top 5 was Nielsen Lawrence. BJ Fulton brings it home in 6th, Savak Vagarian in 7th, Eric Oviatt brings it home in 8th, 9th place goes to Connor Bloom, and 10th to Jeffrey Sykes. Looking at the rest of your field, the second designated driver, Adam Fulton, brings it home in 11th, Bryce Kielwer in 12th, Aaron Edwards 13th, Ron Palmer 14th, and 15th with Jeffrey Schulem, John Momeyer, and Bo Borders round out the rest of your field. Well, these guys are exhausted, and these guys more than likely had a little bit too much to drink as we saw some of that racing. But let's go ahead and bring in your winner tonight, Michael Bolton, taking home the victory. Another 4 Drink Friday win, and this came down to the last lap. Take me through what you were thinking, Michael, on that final lap. Did you know at all what the strategy was there for Michael Johnson?
Let's go. How you guys doing?
Probably not as good as you.
Oh, I mean, I don't know about that. I feel a little tipsy. But that last lap, man, I mean, there was no strategy. The strategy was to not crash. And I thought, maybe the tires would go to 10 laps, and they felt pretty bad then. So I was like, okay, I'll do a gentlemanly thing, which is to go get some drinks off the side of this racetrack, and I won't do all my drinks in the pits. So I drank 2 on the side of the track, and then I did 2 after the pit stop. But I think that was the ticket. I think everybody kind of didn't realize that the tire fade was going to be so bad with these NASCARs. But
well, being there on the track, obviously a 40-minute race and a lot of factors. For you personally, what was the most difficult part? The tires, the truck, the track, or the drinks?
Is there a all of the above check mark that I could,
like
a little box I could check? Because I think honestly,
we've been saying that all night. That's exactly what it is. The answer is just yes. Yes.
The answer is yes. Man, I mean, this was one of the most challenging races I've probably ever done, and to come P1 is totally unexpected and very exciting. So I'm super happy that I could keep some of the faster guys behind me just because of keeping it clean. Might be a little bit slower, but stay consistent, and that ended up being able to pull a victory. I don't know what P2 was, how far they were behind, but I know it had to be close.
It was not. Michael Johnson had to pull over again on the final corner, and he was side by side with Hollander at the stripe. It was a 47-second gap.
Wow! I need I need to print some kind of trophy for the wall just so I can kind of brag about this.
Well, you might have to talk to Matt Hollander about that. See if you can get a certificate, and you can go out and frame it and everything. Get it up on the wall. But not only did you out-strategize everyone, but outpaced a lot of the field as well. Another 4 Drink Friday win. Who do you have to thank for being on the top step of the podium again?
Oh man, thanks, man. I definitely have to thank first and foremost GSRC. You guys are awesome. I appreciate watching the videos back. Appreciate you guys, what you guys do, and it really makes this special. Secondly, I definitely want to thank Matt Hollander, Nielsen Lawrence for throwing this thing together, the POC, my family, and if I can throw a little bit in, I got to thank the White Claw, you know?
Well, hey, we do got a problem with that. Sometimes you might have to mention Octavio Tequila instead, but we will allow it for the race winner here tonight. Michael, congratulations, man, winning here.
Thank you so much, Devin. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Your winner, Michael Bolton, here at Mount Panorama. Well, now let's go ahead and chat with your second place finisher, Michael Johnson. It looked like you might have had it there, but where did you fall short there on the strategy? A couple of bad luck here and there, but oh so close again this victory.
Well, I had a strategy set that was quite sound and was working great until I was informed that I needed to add water because I was going to do 4 shots of tequila. I'll give you one guess what brand that might be.
I sure hope it was Octavia Tequila, just like everyone in the field should be having, right?
How did you know? That's amazing. So, yeah, I was going to do 4 shots, and I announced my plan beforehand, and they wait a minute, you got to drink another 12 ounces. I said, well, how about 11? So on the last lap, I was coming down, and I was like, wait, I forgot to drink my water. So I pulled off on that last little cutoff road right to the start straight finish and just slammed the water. Well, I think I had about 30 seconds behind me with Matt, and I was trying to get it done. And I think we ended up, I think he spun me at the end right there, but I'm not sure it was, no, actually it was probably intentional knowing Matt. Yeah.
It might have been intentional, but it did come after the line at least, and you do come home in second. But you had a phenomenal pace against the rest of this field. How difficult did the race become for you and your pace, along with the tires going away, and of course maybe some Octavio Tequila staying in as well?
Well, those first 2 shots came around a little quicker than I thought, but it was easier to drive with those first 2 shots in me than it was on the tires as they went away. Right about 11 laps or so, I had nothing left, and you may have caught that I spun in the it was either the dipper or right up around there, right before that backstretch. And spun around and had nothing to get back going again. So I came in, got some tires, and pulled out and did some shots and took off and tried to make sure I could stay ahead. And I was staying ahead. I had my balance in. I was good. I had been practicing a little bit, but yeah, it just wasn't enough. I think Bolton kind of bolted ahead of me a little bit faster than I thought he would.
Well, he definitely made it exciting. Who do you have to thank coming home in second here at Mount Panorama?
Well, I'd like to thank Century Cancer Centers. One of the doctors there is one of my big clients, and we do a lot of work with him and his GT3 car. I need to thank. I want to thank my stepfather. So my stepfather died this past Tuesday, and he's the reason. Not to bring everybody down. Sorry. That's what the tequila's for. But he died this past Tuesday, and he is actually the reason I started racing when I was 8 years old. So big tip of the hat, and a little more drink for Don Baker.
Hey, man. Well, sorry for your loss. Congrats on the finish. And I certainly think, regardless of what happens afterwards in the afterlife, but I do hope so much that he was watching down and just smiling that entire 40 minutes, man. We're going to have to pour one over here, too, for you, man. Oh, yeah. Hey, man, congratulations. Second place finish. Congrats, and we'll see you again sober when the Porsche Owners Club comes back here on GSRC.
Absolutely.
Michael Johnson, your second place finisher here for 4 Drink Friday. Well, now let's go ahead and bring in your third place finisher, Matt Hollander. So when you helped make this, Matt, was this exactly what you envisioned? This right here?
It's hard to say. Nielsen and I spent some time trying to figure out exactly what we wanted to do as far as putting a series together, or at least another race together. And the original thought was actually doing Miatas at a dirt track. And unfortunately, for some reason, iRacing just would not put it together. When you had more than one car, it wouldn't load the cars. So we had to figure out something else that would keep with the 4 Drink Friday momentum of cool tracks, ridiculous cars, bad combos, add alcohol, equals failure for most people. And that's kind of like the goal for Forging Friday is just have fun with it, something absolutely ridiculous, and see what happens.
Well, it certainly looked fun from up here. I don't know if everyone down on the track felt the exact same thing, but we certainly felt it up here in the booth. But for you personally, what was the most difficult part? The tires fell off miraculously, but also, of course, the car and track combination, as you mentioned, difficult. And, of course, maybe having some Octavio tequila or something else, I'm sure didn't help either. So what was the most difficult part for you?
You know, I'm not going to say that it was the alcohol. I think what came down to it was strategy. You know, in past races, like at Laguna Seca that I won this last month that we ran, my strategy was good. Pull over, drink a couple beers, do the race, drink 2 more beers, you're good. You're not stopping a whole lot. But with this track, when I had talked to everyone's plan was to run on the same tires, or so everyone thought. So everyone discussed it. Everyone was going to say, okay, you don't really need tires, but turns out you do need tires. So I didn't really strategize that in. I probably would have strategized my beer stop in while I was going to the pits to change tires, and probably would have had a little bit different finishing position against Mr. Bolton and Johnson.
Yeah, absolutely wild. When you were coming down and you saw that Michael Johnson was stopped there in that final corner, what went through your mind real quick?
Well, I mean, it was one of those, okay, I can't come barreling down through there because I have to remember I have to turn. And at that point in the race, the tires were gone, man. They were just gone. And so I needed to try to get around him, try to get on the tires, back end lit up. I knew I couldn't get around him. So, you know, I was listening to Michael's interview, and yeah, totally. After the line, I did give him a little tap, and we spun around. And, you know, shout out to his stepdad for getting him into racing. I'm sure that was a big influential part in his life. And, you know, we're glad to have him part of the racing, you know, today.
Well, I think that we might just pour another one post-race here for him as well. But who do you have to thank?
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I think everyone going to pour one more celebration drink.
And Devin, keep in mind, I mean, we kind of did this for you because I know you're a NASCAR guy. Being a Phoenician, you know, what's up, buddy? We did some trucks for you, and we went down under. So
hey, I appreciate that. But if you want me to be honest with you, I do come from dirt as well. So I would like to see you guys try to run some alcohol on dirt as well. No, I thank you. I appreciate that. But
I'll tell you what, for the next race, maybe we'll do a dirt race.
That sounds like a plan. But at this point, I don't think it matters where you guys run. You guys are bringing home some phenomenal races. Who do you have to thank for being able to put this on and just putting on some great shows for Forging Fridays?
Well, first of all, I want to thank GSRC for being here, broadcasting with us. iRacing, of course, for having a great platform. I want to thank my parents for kind of bringing me up in the racing stuff. My sponsor, Century Financial Consultants, and Speed Gallery. So thank you guys. And, of course, the POC for allowing me to start the Porsche Owners Club League and kind of splitting off from that to do this for a fun Friday night.
Very fun Friday nights. Glad to have an Arizonan on the podium. Matt, congrats. And also, I don't know if you heard Michael Bolton, but he did request a trophy or something to print. I'm sure he wants to frame it. He was very psyched about this win, so you might be getting a message after the race.
Yeah, tell him it's in the mail. It'll get there in the next year or
two. Sounds good. Matt, congratulations. Sitting on the podium.
Thanks, buddy.
And we will chat with one more driver. Not only was he your 4th place finisher, but also tonight's GSRC hard charger and the most sober guy on the post-race show, your designated driver, Nico Silva. Take me through your strategy, because obviously it was a little bit different than everyone else having to make 4 stop and goes.
Yeah, we were added that penalty for since the last race, I guess, because I got too close for comfort to winning in the last couple of races. So they made it a bit harder for me to do it. And this series is all about drinking. But I tried to stay out of trouble. Instead of taking the green flag, I actually dived into the pits on the formation lap, took my first stop and go, and then as I was trying to do my best to stay on the lead lap with my stop and goes, because that's just usually the way you want to do when you're doing an endurance type format. But this is also my first laps in this car and track combo was actually in qualifying. So. And I didn't even have enough time to get my own car, so I had to get a Penske rental truck.
That's what it looks like. Yeah, you went out and got yourself a Penske rental truck, drove it out to Australia with that Ford F-150 Penske truck, and it sure looked good out there, finishing in 4th. And and I asked all the guys what the most difficult part was. Since you had the alcohol taken out, I want to ask the sober guy now, what was the most difficult part of this race?
Honestly, just keeping it together, because there was a couple of times I spun it out. There's I forget the corner number or the corner name in the last corner before that leads you onto the back straightaway is a very hard corner. You know, sometimes you're thinking about getting into second or first, and if you get into first, you know, too early or without blipping, you know, you just spin that truck right out. But for the most part, it's not as bad of a truck to drive on a road course that you think it would be, believe it or not.
Well, it sure looked like fun out there. Who do you have to thank for bringing it home in fourth and being the GSRC hard charger, of course, with your Penske rental truck as well?
Oh yeah, no, thank you for Penske for doing an expedited, rental agreement so I can drive it out to Bathurst quickly enough. And then Matt Hollander, Nielsen Lawrence, and all the guys that for organizing, and all the guys for coming and racing and making it a fun event.
Well, it certainly was a fun event, Nico. Congratulations. Not only do you get to go to bed tonight and certainly not have a hangover tomorrow, but you also bring it home in fourth. Congrats, Nico.
All right, thank you, guys.
Boy, another fun race here for 4 Drink Friday. Once again, do not drink and drive. You might be able to do it on iRacing. I don't think the guys in official races will like that either, but certainly do not drink and drive when you're out on the road. Be responsible when you drive. But, you know, it's good to have fun. Come on here on iRacing in a good show. And a big thank you to the sponsors that made this possible, including Sunset Mortgage. Of course, Octavio Tequila, who brought it home on the podium tonight, and Century Financial Consultants. And if you would like to get involved and possibly sponsor GSRC, including things like, the GSRC Hard Charger Award, our 1 million monthly global impressions are a great way to get your branding seen by a diverse audience. Be sure to go and check out on our YouTube link right here in the description below, or also go to globalsimracingchannel.com/advertising. And thank you to the companies that provide the software and the hardware for our broadcast, listed here on your screen. And of course, a big thank you to the Porsche Owners Club for putting this race on, and also just putting on a great show when we see them on the regular courses as well. And an additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. Be sure to see the screen for more of how to get a hold of her and her great work. And thanks to the team today, Courts Dawson and producer Joe Peak. If you would like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. Or you can check it out on social media on Twitter at GSR Channel, on Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. And if you would like to support the channel, go check out our merchandise store at gsrc.storeenvy.com. The link is in the description below. And don't forget to head on over to our YouTube page. Go hit that big red subscribe button so you never miss a moment of 4 Drink Friday or other sober races on the Global Sim Racing Channel. The next race for the Porsche Owners Club Sim Racing League will be on September 7th as they hit Sonoma back in their regular Porsches. We also have plenty more upcoming races for other series listed on your screen, so go ahead, check those out, and mark them down on your calendar. Until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you at the track.